Wolves, and welcome to your very first Wellness Monday with me, Ms. Vargas, and Ms. Reibstein.
Morning, Wolves.
So today is August 31st. Before we get started, a couple quick announcements. We will be doing the PSAT on September 3rd, and on September 9th, we will be doing the Universal Best Screener during an advisory. But today we're going to talk to you about stress during testing. Ms. Reibstein, did you know that according to a 2010 study, test anxiety can affect anywhere from 10 to 40% of all students?
Yeah, I've seen it, how stressed our students get around finals. Like it's real. It doesn't feel good all the time.
Yeah, so just so our students know, some feelings and sensations that can occur for you when you're experiencing stress related to testing are things like heartbeat going a lot faster than it normally does, sweatiness, maybe some stomach trouble. You might experience some negative thinking around self-doubt or hopelessness or fear. You might feel restless and fidgety. And you might also be experiencing a little lower confidence than you typically do.
Yeah, Ms. Vargas, I totally understand what you mean. And in my head, I think about those feelings and I call it the stress monster. That stress monster can come to get you. And we have some examples, I think, of what happens when the stress monster comes for you on test day.
Yeah, so why don't we tell a tale of two students? Here's our first student. Our first student woke up really late. They slept through their alarm the day of the test. They didn't even have time to get ready for their testing day.
Stressful.
I know. And then they started to feel super anxious. They pulled up their computer. They didn't even have time to get a space set up for testing, and they started to feel even more anxious. By the time they were halfway through the test, they couldn't even finish because they got tackled by the stress monster.
Man, so that student didn't even get to do their best because the stress tackled them. They couldn't show how much they knew. That's so disappointing. Let's see what happens for another student. This student also woke up feeling really anxious and like maybe their stress would prevent them from doing the best they could. But this student had some tools and strategies that allowed them to tame the stress monster, and so they were able to get the stress monster to be obedient by using their tools and strategies. Look, that stress monster couldn't get that student. Let's take a look at what strategies they used. First, they started with the ones they knew. You might not get question 2. That doesn't mean you won't get question 3. Right? If you don't know one, skip it and move on. Do the ones you know first. Second, start with constructed response. You can always guess on multiple choice. Can't guess on constructed response. Third, the only wrong answer is no answer. Right? Take a guess. You might get some point. They remembered those things, so they were able to keep the stress monster at bay.
The other thing that our student did is they really focused on taking calm, deep breaths to stay focused on the test. They even did this right before they took the test to help kind of lower their heart rate and kind of reduce the experience of feeling anxious. They also focused on twisting their thinking. Every time a negative thought came up, they focused on finding a way to integrate a more positive or neutral thought in, so they felt more positive about the testing experience. The final thing our other testing student did is they took care of themselves. They got a good night's rest the night before the test. They ate breakfast the day of. They made sure they had time to get set up and ready for their day so they felt successful before the laptop was even open for their test. The reason why we're giving you all these tips and tricks is because there's actually a study out there that found when students understood what testing anxiety was and how to cope with it, their testing scores actually improved because they felt more confident.
Yeah, we want you to show your best work in thinking, right? When you use your tips and strategies, you can create a bubble around yourself to keep the stress thoughts out and the academic thoughts in, so that you can really be your best self in this or any test.
Ms. Reibstein, I love the idea of a bubble of protection right now. So in closure, we want to share with you a quote from Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn once said, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." And with that, we hope you have a wonderful start to your week and good luck during the PSAT this week. Take care and have a wonderful Monday.
Bye, Wolves.